Hello and welcome to Sound Bites. I'm your host, Holly Whitfield from the Daily Memphian. I'm here today with our guest, Felicia Willett-Schuchardt and Clay Schuchardt, co-owners of Felicia Suzanne's restaurant. This week we'll get into it with this husband and wife team, all about their restaurant, their backgrounds, and most importantly, the Southern food that they and their team create. The Sound Bites podcast from Daily Memphian comes out each week focused on food, drinks, dining. We are interviewing chefs and Memphis foodies, talking about food events and giving dining recommendations. You can tune in on WYXR Radio on Thursdays at 11. Subscribe on iTunes or Spotify. Head to thedailymemphian.com every week to have a little write-up that goes along with the episode, and you can also stream it and listen right on the website. But let's get started. The new neighborhood restaurant, Felicia Suzanne, South Main. Felicia and Clay opened 2 weeks ago.
Last week.
Last week.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for
having us.
Yeah.
So Felicia, chef, Clay, our front of house manager, they're co-owners. We're sitting here in y'all's beautiful new space. I'm seeing this signature Felicia red velvet curtains around the entryway, and we're sitting in this lush
Velvet
soft,
banquettes.
velvety, leathery, big circular booth. We've got beautiful tile floor and marbled countertops. It's really nice in here. Can you walk us through the space and also the really smart ways that y'all are going to use the different seating areas? We're going to get into the food and your backgrounds, but let's start where we're at right now.
Yeah. So we are in the old Spendini location.
Mm-hmm.
The building was built in 1926, and
Wow.
it was the original Fred P. Gaddis store downtown. And actually, the space. There's two buildings of the original Fred P. The building that we are in, and then the building next door, which is Stock and Bell. And our building's divided into Bay A and Bay B. And we sort of follow Spendini's sort of layout. So we take over pretty much all of Bay B. So you walk in the front door. So people will be kind of familiar with the old space of
Sure.
Spendini because they had a large bar when you walked in. And so you walk in the front door. We lightened it up a lot. When we saw the space, it was really dark, black ceilings, dark walls. So we took that completely away. It's white walls, white brick, white ceiling. And we readjusted the bar, added some more refrigeration. We've got this beautiful marble countertop. And then we actually took it up the wall as a focal point for the space. And it sort of accents, the brick and the existing ceiling. We've got some wood cabinets on both sides to store the wine, which
Very
is lovely.
important, yes.
Very important to store your beverages. And what we really wanted to do up front is put everyone together. Mm-hmm. So our bar is also our waiter station, our host station. Everybody travels back and forth behind each other in this front area. It's actually so Clay and I know where everyone is.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It helps keep an eye on everyone, as well.
We don't have to go looking for folks. And then we really loved, at our old space, loved the idea of the banquettes and the coziness. Mm-hmm. And at our old location, we were in one big room. And so there was really not any intimacy. So we really wanted to capture that sort of in the bar area, the front part of the restaurant when you enter. So we've got 3 round cozy banquettes that seat 4 to 8 actually. We thought originally 4 to 6, but then once we started getting people in here, they're like, we can get 8 people in here. So we're like, perfect. And we, this area is available for cocktails and bites up to when the dining room opens, or, between 5 and 6. And then we set the tables for dinner. So we do offer the full menu up here. And then you progress back into the main dining room. And the main dining room, again, the velvet banquettes. We're big banquet people, and so we picked up some blue velvet, and those kind of flank each other on both sides of the wall. The one thing we wanted to do was we had these pocket doors put in, so we could shut this room down for a private event for about 44, because the old spot, we kind of became like the rehearsal dinner spot, groups of 100, 120. It was a lot. So we wanted something more cozy. Now, we can shut the dining room down to do 44, but then open it up and incorporate the front area. And so we can do, what is it, 80?
About 80.
About 80
So you have a lot more versatility in this space.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And what's nice is that on a slower night, or like in January, you know, when it's cold and there's not a lot of people on the street, we can shut the main dining room down, shut the doors, and you don't feel like you're in a dead restaurant and only see people up front.
Yeah, you're making it work for you.
Yeah, making it work. And then we progress into the kitchen from the main dining room, and we did bring back our signature kitchen table. So the kitchen table kind of got gussied up. I mean, what did we add? We got a nicer tabletop. And then it's got a nice light fixture that we have hanging.
So tell us about the kitchen table in your commercial kitchen. How does that work?
Yes. So the kitchen table we've had since the beginning, and that kind of developed because it was a table for me. It was a table because I was going to be working nonstop and missing birthdays and celebrations with my family and friends. And so it's a very New Orleans kind of thing. Commander's Palace is a good example of it, a table in the kitchen. So it was a table to have so I could still be part of the family celebrations and not miss things.
Have people come back, join you in the kitchen at the kitchen table.
Yeah, while I was working. And I could kind of go back and forth. Well, we overbooked one night. We had no tables in the dining room. And in comes Henry Turley. I had overbooked. Henry Turley had a reservation. So I was like, Henry, the only thing I've got is a table in the kitchen if you don't mind. He goes, outstanding.
That sounds fun.
Sounds fun. He walked back there, kitchen table was born. And so we've had it ever since. And what we do back there, there's no menu. We cook for you. Clay picks out your beverage program, your wine. We'd get all that taken care of, your allergies. And we develop a menu for you based on your likes and dislikes.
That's a great idea. It's like taking the open kitchen concept, totally like flipping it around, and like the kitchen isn't totally open to everybody. But if you have the table, you're in it. You're not just peering in through a window. You're actually in it.
You're in it. And good times and bad times.
Yeah.
Because
you get all the sounds and the smells and everything that goes along with the kitchen. Exactly.
And in case there could be some nights that things don't run, as smooth. And so, we're a pretty quiet kitchen until things kind of go sideways a little bit. So you get it's not like Gordon Ramsay's kitchen or Hell's kitchen or anything of that, but you do get the fast pace. It's real. It's real back there.
And I know that y'all, Clay, you have a couple of tables up front, and I think this is fun. People have booths or benches a lot of times at the front of a restaurant for people to sit and wait. Y'all have tables where you can get cocktail service while you're waiting for your reservation or waiting for your guests. Am I explaining that right?
Yes, that's correct. We have 3 marble tables up front for people who come in and are a little early for a reservation or waiting on a table. They can have a cocktail, sit down in the nice leather chairs, and or if they're waiting for the rest of their party to arrive, they can come and have a seat and rest and have a cocktail while they wait.
That sounds really fun. I'm going to back up now and give us your bio. What's your background? How did y'all meet? And then we'll talk to Felicia and ask her the same question.
Well, I was not in the culinary field. I did work and bartend and also wait tables through college and after college, but went on to a couple different fields. So mostly in sales.
Sure.
And then came back to Memphis and ran into Felicia. And so I still continued my day job for years after we were dating and after we got married. And then when we closed the other restaurant and we came into talks about opening this one, I decided it was time to just dump into the deep end and head first and just dive and go full time. So I quit my day job and started here.
And how's it been going?
It's been a learning process,
Sure.
But it is something that it is enjoyable to see the faces and see the happiness that you bring to people. I mean, it's what it's all about. So it's well worth it.
And Felicia Suzanne's was opened in 2002. Down to Brinkley Plaza, and then this space reopened last week after the whole thing been closed about 3 years. So people are probably really happy to see y'all. That's helping with the opening.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was at the old space for 20 years
Right.
and, sort of ran out of Brinkley screaming, saying I would never do another restaurant. I mean, it was just a lot. It was 20 years. I opened. It was just me. I was by myself. It was just a lot for one person to take on. And so when we shut that place down, I stepped back and said, okay, what does the next chapter look like? And really, we were doing this sort of grab and go concept is where we were leading in that direction. And we had three couples that kept pounding both of us daily going, no, you can't shut down. You've got to continue Felicia Suzanne's. And so one of them was Adam Slovis, and he's in the commercial real estate. And so Adam and Clay and I had been looking for spaces since 2019, and nothing really came around. We wanted to stay downtown. And so, but this was looking for the grab and go.
Yes.
That's what we were looking for. And Spendini came on, and we put an offer in, and they declined it. And I was like, whew, I don't want to open another restaurant. I was like, I'm good with the grab and go. And then they came back to us, and then the three other couples that have become our dear friends and partners and investors, and, all of us are in this together, kind of beat me down. They got Clay and, I said, the only way I'm going to do another restaurant is if my husband's part of it, and running the front of the house, and we had a good team behind us. And so this location it did everything. They beat me down until I was like, yes, okay, we'll do it. Well, let's move Felicia Suzanne's. Let's open down on South Main. And we live 6 blocks. We live at South Bluffs. And so it's easy. We walk back and forth to work, which is lovely in the afternoons. We're closed Sunday, Mondays. So yesterday morning, we walked down to, water the plants and check on things, and then can walk home. And so this go around, I have more support.
Yes.
A better team. And I've got my husband involved. The funny thing is everybody's like, oh no, you two are going to work together. I was like, well, Denny and Patrick do it. Look at them. And they're going on their, third venture soon, And so I was like, there's not anyone in the world that I trust more than this restaurant than my husband.
Right.
Trust him 100%. And he's been so great because I was running the front of the house from the back, going back and forth for years. It's just so nice to know I don't have to do that anymore. I can look up front, and he's up there handling the staff, taking care of the customers, because, it's all about hospitality. And so now we can tag team that and make sure that the guests are having a great time.
Yeah, and so you brought up Patrick and Denny Riley. We had Denny on a few weeks ago to talk about Kokoza and the Majestic. So if you're listening, make sure you go back and hear that episode. I love these restaurant power couples we're talking to these days. It's really fun.
We aspire to be.
Yeah.
That's what we're working towards.
Let's manifest.
Yes.
Okay, so this space that we're in, you said Bay AB is the Felicia Suzanne's, and then next door you'll have Flo's, and that will be kind of your grab and go, pre-made kind of. I know you had
so
condiments and other really great stuff. I don't know if y'all are doing that at Flo's now. So tell us, what's you got going on over there?
Yeah, so
next door?
Flo's was Flo was my nickname in New Orleans. And so I had that for years there. And Flo was my product line. It was pickles and chow chow and tomato jam. And I sold it out of the back of my old, Pathfinder at the farmers markets and the agri center. And, any little event, we were peddling that out of our trunk. And then when we found this space, it's a large space. The total space is 6,100 square feet. So what do you do with something like that? And because of the Bay A and B, the restaurant takes all of Bay B and then comes around and takes half of Bay A. So there's about 2,200 square feet up front that is perfect for a grab and go. When COVID hit, we immediately transitioned. We shut our doors down Saturday, March 14th. Tuesday, we were immediately into takeout. We did really well with it.
Yeah.
I mean, our food reheats well.
Yeah, the Southern, the Creole.
Yeah, I mean, the chicken crepes reheat well, the fishes, the Sunday sugo. And then what it did was because during that time, the only really sort of grab and go we did was at Thanksgiving. We had this concept of Operation Turkey Takeout. Mm-hmm. And so we did Turkey Day sides. And so I had a local farmer that we would sell turkeys, and we'd season the turkeys. You'd pick the turkeys up, and you had our phone number in the morning of Thanksgiving, and you'd roast your turkey, and then you would, we would supply all the sides and stuff. And we did well with that. But with COVID, with it being in March, the next holiday was Easter. And, everybody was doing whatever they could do, whatever side hustles to make it during that time. Well, we picked up Easter, did amazing. Mother's Day takeout, amazing. Father's Day, 4th of July. I mean, it was crazy.
Well, people were really looking to have something special out of their COVID day-to-day that they were doing. And so it was, I remember it was cool to see you guys and other Memphis restaurateurs do the same with holidays especially.
Yeah, and what a lot of people were doing families 6 to 8. Well, it's just Clay and I. Our girls were in college. Mm-hmm. So we would just do 2. The most we would want is 4. We weren't buying 6 portions or 8 portions of things because we'd get tired of it. And we found that need. I think our niche downtown is that we offered single, double, and bites for 4. So people really...
In smaller households, that works for them.
Yeah, it worked for them, and that's what did well. And so when that idea of shutting down Brinkley, moving, and the whole concept of let's do a store, it just seemed perfect. And so the funny thing is when it was announced that we were doing flows, I think everyone thought that we were opening a store with just jams and jellies. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, 2,200 square feet's not a big place to store all those. It's a lot of jam and jelly. A lot of pickles. And so, so what we did is Natalie Lieberman with Collect and Curate, and Joyce Selena with Love Studios, and Adam Slovis and I, we went ahead and designed the whole building together. So in the beginning, Clay and I thought Flows would
actually be first.
It was going to be first.
Mm-hmm.
That would be because for the last 3 years, Clay kept his day job, but I was catering.
Yes.
One of my original cooks, Cedric, who's been with me 20 plus years, Cedric and I were catering in homes for small events. And so it would have been ideal, we thought, to have that kitchen that we could cater in and out of while the restaurant was still under construction. So we started testing everything for Flows. We have the menu for Flows. We started testing for Flows, the layout. We purchased equipment. Well, with construction, we had to flip-flop. We had to pause Flows and focus on getting the restaurant open because the restaurant was the one that was taking the most square footage.
Right.
We're around 4,000 square feet for the restaurant. So that really took all of our time.
Mm-hmm.
We were here, thank goodness we lived close.
Yeah.
We had to come every day just to check to make sure that everything was done correctly.
And that really is a part of what we've been talking about at Daily Memphian, about the difficulties that small business owners and restaurateurs have in Memphis trying to get something open. And Jennifer Chandler did a story, a couple months back about that, and just trying to remember that and tell people about that while also celebrating all the fun parts and the good stuff. So having said that, people describe your cuisine, Felicia, as Southern, New Orleans, Creole. These are all words I've heard. Mm-hmm. But how would you describe it? And are there any other influences that people don't always talk about when they ask you about your food? Yeah,
20 years ago, I kind of got put into this category of Southern, Low Country, Creole, because those are the cities I lived in. Mm-hmm. Lived in Memphis, went to culinary school in Charleston, and then lived in New Orleans for 10 years before I opened the restaurant. And so 20 years ago, I was, when I opened Felicia Suzanne's, we call 1.0, I was in my early 30s. Mm-hmm. And then you fast forward 20 years, things change. Your experiences change. Your travel changes. Mm-hmm. What's important changes. And so you evolve. And we are able... I would say that we're more just of an American restaurant. We took off the white tablecloths because we wanted more of a bistro kind of feel here.
Yes, not just special occasion.
Yeah, because we got tagged that at the old location. It's like everyone just thought it was a celebration, and that was lovely. I mean, what an honor that you want to spend your anniversary or birthday. That's great, but we really wanted to be just stop by for a drink or on your way to, Catherine and Mary's or after Catherine and Mary's or the Orpheum, Grizzlies, Redbirds, whatever it was. And so the food, it's still the attention to detail. I mean, we're passionate about sustainability. 20 years ago, I was really big about the local, who were the farmers, going out to the farmers to see them and so forth. And we still are carrying that into the new location, but we've just sort of widened our wings. It's not just Memphis and, within the 90 miles. I mean, we just want to buy from companies that are putting out good product, good, sustainable, smaller mom and pop that sort of have the same philosophy that we have about our community.
So give me some examples. I know you still have like the oysters of love. What's the oyster of love? But talk me through a couple of the dishes.
Yes. So oysters of love are a dish that actually my mother sort of created. New Orleans was known for barbecue shrimp.
Yes.
And my mother loves fried oysters. Like every time I'd come home from New Orleans, she was like, bring me oysters. And the first meal I was always frying oysters for her. And so I wanted to have a barbecue connection, but I would not dare insult the barbecue giants. I wouldn't insult the Burgesses. And so, and I hadn't lived hadn't been back to Memphis for 10 years. And so my mom was like, New Orleans barbecue sauce. Why don't you do that with crispy oysters and let's see. And so we did. We tested that and it's a delicious dish. So it's fried oysters over a spoonful of creamy stone ground grits and it's got that New Orleans barbecue sauce. Our twist to our New Orleans barbecue sauce is that we make our own Worcestershire in-house. The flavors, it's hard to describe what this flavor of this sort of, because it's got molasses, it's got cane syrup, it's got tamarind, it's got cardamom, it's just this, and the smell of it when it's reducing down, because we reduce the Worcestershire down with the oyster liqueur, and then we reduce cream, and then we mount or whisk in cold butter. But to smell that Worcestershire reducing with the cream from the back to the front.
Like mouth-watering.
Yeah, it's just, you go, what is that? I was like, it's the Worcestershire reducing down. And that was one that has just is a signature. Our deviled eggs, we started with house smoked salmon deviled eggs, and over the years, because we do those a lot for cocktail parties, and we've evolved. We do bacon. We make a homemade green tomato chow chow. We do jalapeno. We do fresh crab. So on the menu, instead of offering one oyster, we have a section of oysters. Mm-hmm. We really do seafood well. We really love the Gulf. Clay's mom and dad lived on the Gulf Coast for years.
Oh, really? Yeah.
20 years.
Gulf Shores.
In Gulf Shores. And so Clay and I, any sort of time we had off, would grab our girls and go down and see the grandparents. So we spent a lot of time on the Gulf Coast and, just the shrimp and the crab meat. And it sort of had memories of me in New Orleans. And so we will, not at the present, but on our menu will be this sort of seafood plate, if you could say, not a tower, but it's just sort of a seafood plate that's got Creole boiled shrimp and oysters and a crab salad and a ceviche and a smoked fish dip. And we'll probably be offering those on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as supplies are limited kind of on that.
Sure.
Yeah. Whatever's getting in. I mean,
I love that Gulf shrimp, though.
The Gulf shrimp
That's just my favorite.
Yes.
Yep.
And we get really nice U12 Gulf shrimp head on. They're gorgeous. And, but with the Gulf, hurricanes blow in and out of there.
Yeah.
And
unpredictable.
So it's unpredictable. So, we promote the Gulf as much as we can, but people have to kind of understand, this week we've got a little issue with crab meat. So the menu will have to make some verbal substitutions on things, because of our, how much the Gulf has on the presence that the Gulf has on the menu. But then we also have that we're rolling out in the next week or two is our bar bites. So we have
Tell me about the bar bites on the menu. Is there a short rib grilled cheese somewhere on there.
I believe the short rib grilled cheeses will be making an appearance. Yes.
Here and there.
Here and there. That was a lunch specialty,
Yes.
is our braised short rib grilled cheese. And it's really like a croque monsieur. So it's not a grilled cheese.
Yeah.
La Baguette makes our country loaves, and we slice them and we braise short ribs. And then we braise the short ribs overnight. We cool, we pull the meat. And so there's a slice of bread with the picked short ribs. We put white cheddar cheese, another piece of bread, and then we spread a bechamel, which a bechamel is like a milk-based sauce. And really in Southern cuisine, it's sort of the staple. Mac and cheese. It's a staple on our menu. It's on mac and cheese, our spinach madeleine, and our crepes, and it appears on the grilled cheese. And then we put sprinkle cheese back on top of the bechamel, and we bake it till it's golden and slice. And it's that is probably the one dish that
It's popular.
You're
call
probably tired of people asking about it, but you understand why.
I understand why, and I get it, and it is delicious. Now, it won't appear on the dinner menu, but it appears on the bite menu, and we've got this side porch. So Spendini had this patio, which is kind of right in the parking lot, and the side porch seats, what is it, 38?
About 38. Mhm.
38 people, and we gussied it up. We put a new awning out there, and then we put these partitions, privacy partitions around to kind of close it up so you don't feel like you're sitting in the parking lot.
Sure.
And updated some seating. And so out there, and we had a portable bar made, service station / bar. So like on trolley night, we can set that up. And as people are walking back and forth, we can do.
That'll be really good.
Yeah. And outside is only for beverages and bites. We don't do the dinner menu outside. When Flo's opens, that will be the place throughout, because Flo's will open around 10:30 or 11, and that's our seating for Flo's up till 4 o'clock. And then at 4 o'clock, when the restaurant opens, then the two spaces kind of meet. So there's a lot of shared space between Felicia Suzanne's and Flo's.
So is it safe to say Flo's will be obviously your grab and go, but your lunch?
Yes.
Yes.
And then Felicia Suzanne's proper is the dinner,
yes,
with some shared spaces and menu items.
Exactly. We share space that we share on the walk-in cooler, the side porch, some dry storage, the office, the dish room. And Clay will, when we opened, we since we've been out for 3 years, and we really wanted to promote from within. So we didn't hire managers. I mean, the managers are Clay and I. And so for the first year, we will be managing the restaurant, and then we will start grooming individuals to be promoted to managers. And then Clay will shift over to Flo's and run Flo's, and then I will shift over and predominantly be at the restaurant, but I'm a support back and forth. So I will swing back and forth and kind of incorporate Clay into Flo's, but then he's going to have to swing back and forth too. So we've got a little time on that. We're hoping that we'll start construction. I mean, we've done a lot of construction already, electrical, plumbing, all of that's pulled over to the space. It's really just some cosmetic stuff that we could start that in July and hopefully be open by the holidays for Flo. Did we have any idea that the construction was going to be?
No. The construction is definitely something that was... It took a little bit longer than anticipated, and some of the struggles that we had, I think other people can attest to that. We're not the only ones that have dealt with it. So
I'm going to switch gears a little bit because I want to find out which one of y'all cooks at home. Do y'all cook at home? Clay's nodding.
I'm usually the one, but I'm usually outside on the grill.
Okay, so tell me your favorite thing to make at home, or one of your favorites.
Oh, I love to cook chicken. She loves my chicken, so we do a lot of chicken. We do a lot of meal prep since we're here pretty much all the time now. So, like on Sundays or Mondays when we have a minute, I'll do a lot of chicken. I may grill some steaks and do some things to where we're set up for the week. Do some grilled vegetables. We'd like to have some rice bowls. We just had last night.
We eat a lot of rice bowls.
You got
rice
a gas grill? You got a charcoal?
No. I use a Primo.
Okay. I'm in the market for a grill. That's why
Yeah,
I'm asking.
it's
I'm being selfish.
Yeah,
And just,
it's a.
You
it's
need
a
to go see Louis Bishop.
Louis Bishop.
Can I give him a
yes.
little plug from
sure.
Bishop Hearth and Home?
Yes.
That sounds great. Yeah, so you're
it's like
out
a green
there.
egg.
Okay.
It's an oval ceramic. So yes, it's kind of my way of just kind of getting away for a couple hours, lighting the grill. The whole process is something that I like, and just sitting out on the patio for a minute, catching my breath.
Well, Felicia mentioned y'all also have done a lot of traveling, or some traveling, as much as anybody can the last few years. Is there a meal that you had on your travels? I'm about to ask you this too, Felicia. Is there a meal you've had on your travels that stands out to you as something really memorable, or something that you even wanted to try to recreate?
That's a good question. Can you think of anything that you would try to recreate?
Or just that you liked.
I tell you what, one thing that we have kind of messed around with, and she did create off and on, was what's called a West Indies crab salad. My mom made some down in Gulf Shores. She used to make it all the time, and Felicia's kind of found an interest in it and has tweaked it a little bit. And so we have made some West Indies crab salad, which is delicious.
It is. It's light, refreshing.
It's great for the summer.
It is. And we just we do cook at home a lot.
Yes.
I love the idea on Sundays of putting something on. We don't leave on Sundays. We've been downtown 20 years. We're walkable to the restaurant. We live in a condo, small square footage. I think 1,300 square feet, since we have 6,000 square feet here. So a loft downtown and great little patio, and I'll be inside doing, like Clay said, his chicken thighs, bone in, skin on, chicken thighs, I take all day.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, and I'll just roast some broccoli and cauliflower and sweet potatoes and rice bowls. I really got into this sort of Korean kick, which I think a lot of people have also. And, we just eat simple. People always ask all the time, oh, are you just taking food home from the restaurant? It's like, oh, no, I can't even see it anymore. We just want something plain. So, we do a lot of meal prep. We get home at midnight and we're starving. What are we going to eat? A bowl of cereal here, or, pull out some chicken and I guess, so our girls are in school. We have twin daughters. And so they're in school at Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So we go to Birmingham a lot. We spend a lot of time in Birmingham. We kind of meet them there and, of course, do the whole shopping and taking them and
It's
friends
been a while since I've been to Birmingham, but probably about 5 years. But I remember being kind of amazed at their restaurants and
Great
their
food scene.
craft cocktail bars. There was a lot of them. Do you have
Frank
picks?
Frank and Protestant are amazing. They have Bottega, Chez Fonfon,
Highlands.
the Highlands. Frank is sort of like in our younger days, he was sort of the pioneer, he was sort of the, not bad boy, but sort of the it of Southern cuisine. And we saw Frank a couple months ago, and we were laughing because as we're aging, he was like, how did I become the pawpaw of Southern cuisine? I was like, I don't know. I guess because he goes, I don't feel like a pawpaw. And, but his restaurants are amazing. Hands down, our favorite place in the world is New Orleans. It's a 5.5 hour drive. We stay at the same place, which is dog friendly. We stay in the Central Business District. We can get in and out. Lulabelle gets it. We have a little 12-year-old Bichon Lulabelle who's well traveled.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all the hotels love her. And we just love eating through that city. And it's quick in the relation. So we can leave a Sunday morning and come back Tuesday morning completely refreshed. We have been, if we would have known then what we know now, that we would have been closed for as long as we would be, we probably would have gone to France for a year and taken cooking classes
Wouldn't
or
we
something.
all?
Wouldn't we all? Yeah. But, I love the simplicity of bistro fare. I just love where you let the product stand on its own. There's not a lot of fuss. There's not a lot of hands on my food touching the dishes. I'll do a trout almondine. Now the fish might change from trout to another. It might be red snapper, but that classic almondine sauce with the little baby new potatoes and the French green beans, that's just right up our alley. That's our jam. and steak frites. You know, you kind of asked earlier about like some things that are going to appear on the menu.
Yeah.
We don't really have that downtown, you know, so steak frites is going to appear to the menu. The trout almondine, which I've done trout almondine for years, but that will come back. We have a sort of panade chicken that is going to start the first of the summer. That it's just a panade chicken breast. And panade it's pounded thin, and then we do flour, egg wash, breadcrumbs, and we pan fry it. And literally, it's like a crispy chicken cutlet that's the size of the plate. But what's going to be great about that for the summer is that the toppings change. So it could be some baby arugula with some burrata and fresh tomatoes with just a little drizzle of olive oil, or we could drizzle it with some fresh pesto, and that will just kind of change what that is. So it's just a simple, light dish for the summer. The seafood plate, like I had mentioned, love Home Place Pastures. I love what Marshall is doing. His double cut pork chop, which is so juicy, so flavorful. Clay's a big pork chop fan. And that's going to go on the dish with just a little bordelaise sauce. So we sort of, when we opened, had this idea of this grand menu, and then Cedric, my right hand in the kitchen, we kind of had to look at it and go, we're starting with a whole new staff. We had to kind of scale our menu back and just do dishes, signature dishes. So when you come into Felicia Suzanne's, right now it's signature dishes. But just know, each week we are slowly adding new things to the menu. One other item that we're adding, because you'd asked any other sort of food that I'm sort of passionate and I'm obsessed with Italian cuisine. I wish I had a lick of Italian blood in me. I do not. But we do these little nudies, which are like gnocchi, which are potato dumplings. But we do nudie dumplings, which are it's ricotta based. And then we just change that quarterly with the different toppings. So we're in crawfish season. So right now, hopefully by this weekend, it'll go as a special, and next weekend it'll be printed on the menu. It's crawfish dumplings with nudie simmering in a little pan sauce with some shaved Parmesan cheese. And, you know, it's just sort of a little labor
I'm sold on that one. Yeah. Labor of love. Well, I love talking to y'all about all the food, about all your background, how you came together. This has been a really fun conversation. Also letting people know like what it's really like to open a restaurant, work in the restaurant, kind of the nuts and bolts, so to speak. So Felicia Suzanne's reopened just a couple of weeks ago, and listen to the rest of this. Read our stories. We've had several covering all the good stuff about this new restaurant space downtown. That is all the time that we have. Please tune into Daily Memphian Soundbites on WYXR Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. If you subscribe on iTunes or Spotify, then you won't miss any delicious episode. You can also read about these episodes and listen to them at dailymemphian.com every single week. You can stream it right on the website. It's so easy. Thank you so much for being here, Clay and Felicia.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.